Chapter 91 Don't Leave Anyone Alive. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Name, age, reason for staying in Fundu City, whether there are any relatives in other main cities. My name is Lai Jiwei, 52 years old, my legs and feet are not in good condition. When the city was attacked, I was afraid of dying on the road, so I hid in a cellar in Fundu City. I also have a younger brother in Yaoguang City, named Lai Jibin. Several staff members of the Demon Slayer department questioned the refugees' identities and recorded them in detail. A dozen refugees lined up in a long line, looking at the fully armed soldiers around them with some trepidation, and answered the questions honestly. Taiwan Novel Network. As a patrol member escorting them back, Guan Shan stood quietly by the side, carefully identifying each refugee, confirming that they were the same group returning to Liming City, and there were no strangers who mixed in halfway. In fact, there was little point in doing this. The situation was urgent at the time, and he could not take a closer look, but the rules were like this, so he could only do it. The patrol team was full of wounded soldiers, and the only healthy ones were Yang Chao and Guan Shan. Yang Chao had to accompany his teammates, so Guan Shan had to stay. The refugees lined up in an orderly manner, introducing themselves one by one, and soon it was the turn of the girl holding the pottery jar. Name, age, reason for staying in Fundu City, and whether there are any relatives in other main cities. My name is Tang Bao, 13 years old, from Yaoguang City. I came to Fundu City with my parents 7 years ago to do business. When the city was broken, my mother was seriously ill and was in the hospital. My father and I stayed to take care of her, so we couldn't evacuate. My mother died. Dad. Tang Bao's eyes suddenly turned red, her chest rose and fell rapidly, and she choked and said, "This is, my father." The blood-stained pottery jar did not contain ashes, but 2 pieces of broken skulls. In Fundu City, the human race is not even as good as ants, and even cremating parents is a luxury. Tang Bao hugged the pottery jar tightly in her arms, and her body trembled slightly. She murmured, "I have no other relatives. No more." The girl's voice was painful and desperate. Everyone present was stunned. Even those staff who were used to seeing the miserable plight of refugees could not bear to turn their heads away. In the suffocating silence, only the girl's intermittent sobbing echoed in the air. Guan Shan seemed to see a familiar figure in the girl, the same despair and helplessness, the same loss of everything. He subconsciously clenched his fists. Blood slowly flowed from his fingers, but still could not calm the anger in his heart. Guan Shan took a deep breath, walked to Tang Bao's side, and said in a voice as gentle as possible, "Don't blame yourself, benefactor." Tang Bao was startled, slowly raised his head, and on his thin and yellow face, 2 tear marks were slowly sliding down his cheeks. "I know what you're thinking. But don't blame yourself." Guan Shan's voice trembled a little. "It was never you who was to blame. It was those demons who were to blame. One day, we will definitely kill them all. Leave no one alive." Tang Bao choked up and looked at Guan Shan. This young man, like a life-saving straw, appeared in front of her before she was about to be swallowed by the tide. The girl opened her mouth several times, but couldn't make any sound. She could only tremble and nodded, holding the pottery jar in her arms more tightly. The refugee team moved forward slowly, and everyone's story was different, but they were all the same. Looking at the refugee team that was slowly walking away, Guan Shan took a deep breath and exhaled with difficulty. As long as the demons are not destroyed, these things will continue to happen. There will never be a day when it ends. In the medical class ward, all the teammates in class 197 have woken up. According to Meng Tuo, it was a miracle that no one died this time. Xiao Jiang was more concerned about how much military merit he could get after completing this job. "We killed a whole team of scouts this time, at least 500 military merits per person, enough for you to eat for a semester." Meng Tuo was in a good mood after escaping death this time, and said jokingly, "And according to the regulations, you can at least get a second-class medal. You will understand when you officially join the Demon Slayer division in the future. Second-class medals are all won at the cost of life, and they are very valuable. How much chicken leg rice can you get in exchange?" Xiao Xiaowei sat up excitedly, but the movement was too big and pulled the wound, and she fell down again with a wow. "Haha, I don't know," no one has ever exchanged it for a second-class medal. I guess it can be exchanged for a lot. Meng Tuo laughed. A big harvest, it's really good at the front line. Liang Yusin's tears of happiness slid down the corners of her mouth, her eyes full of expectations. Even Wang Sheng, who was originally depressed, was excited when he heard the number of military merits. Looking at a group of excited recruits, Meng Tuo nodded with some relief. The rules of the military academy are indeed cruel, but they are also effective. Most of the recruits, after experiencing actual combat and life and death, almost all fell into depression. They even need psychological counseling from professionals. Only the students in the military academy are indifferent to life and death, and they will fight if they don't agree. Each student who graduates from the military academy may have differences in strength, but absolutely none of them is afraid of death. Such people are also the most comfortable in the army. Everyone knows that you can leave your back to the military school students. They will never leave you and escape alone, but will only fight to the death, until the last drop of blood is shed. Speaking of which, where is Yang Chao? Xiao Xiaowei was the last to wake up, and she didn't seem to see Yang Chao. He went to get us food. He should be back soon. I ordered chicken drumstick rice for you. When the food was mentioned, Xiao Zhang's eyes suddenly flashed. Outside the medical ward, Yang Chao was rushing to the ward carrying lunch boxes for 10 people. Master Yang, wait a moment. A middle-aged man seemed to have been waiting for a long time. As soon as he saw Yang Chao, he greeted him enthusiastically. Uncle Lu. Yang Chao stopped and looked at Lu Biao with some confusion. My brother has also come to the front. That is a close confidant of Yang Guangxiu. Lu Biao would follow him closely under normal circumstances and rarely act alone. The pavilion master is not here. The materials transported to the front line this time are more important, so the pavilion master specially sent me to follow him all the way for fear of something going wrong. Lu Biao wanted to reach out and take the lunch box from Yang Chao's hand, but he refused. Okay, Uncle Lu, thank you for your hard work. My teammates are still waiting for me to deliver food, so I won't talk for now. If you have anything else, we'll talk about it later. Yang Chao said and wanted to rush to the ward. Master Yang. When I came here this time, the pavilion master specially told me something, and he asked me to convey it to you. Lu Biao trotted all the way to catch up with Yang Chao and whispered. Yang Chao knew that it would definitely not be a trivial matter that allowed Lu Biao to speak in person, and he suddenly looked stern and said, just tell me. Lu Biao glanced around and confirmed that no one was nearby, then whispered, the front line may be unstable in the recent period, please be sure to pay attention to safety. Yang Chao frowned, chewing his brother's words carefully in his heart, and his face gradually became serious. Chapter 92 The Demon Tribe's Conspiracy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Frontline Command Center of Dawn City. There is something wrong with the actions of the demon scouts this time. Starting a war in the hunting ground is not good for either side. The demons have lost an infiltration route, and we have also lost a channel to receive refugees. It can't be just to kill a small patrol team, right? Wang Shilong looked at the report in his hand, frowning, raise the alert level to yellow in the next few days, and send 2 more scouts at the same time, and make sure to find out what the demons are doing. Looking at the people in the conference room, Wang Shilong said, the subordinates received the order, nodded, stood up, and left, well organized. Yun Xian, what do you think about the hunting ground this time? Wang Shilong returned to his office after the meeting and asked the student who was silently making tea. The refugees can't move as fast as the cavalry. For us to detect the demonic power and send out the retreat signal while contacting the dozen refugees, it must have been carefully planned. If it's just to deal with an ordinary patrol team, I can't think of any benefit from going through so much trouble. But if the members of this team are the strongest freshmen in the military academy in the past 10 years, it will be different. Li Yun Xian filled the teacher with tea, the bowl used. Wang Shilong took the tea and drank it all, looked at the student, and spoke almost at the same time. There is a traitor. The ward was filled with the aroma of meat. Guan Shan held the lunch box, but did not move his chopsticks. He sat beside Meng Tuo's bed and said with some doubt, Captain, those refugees. Can they really return to human society? Meng Tuo was stunned, his throat rolled up and down, and he swallowed the food in his mouth. You figured it out too? Everyone in the ward looked at Meng Tuo and Guan Shan, some of them not understanding the meaning of their conversation. Refugees are also human beings, isn't it enough to just find the hidden demons? I participated in the identity verification of the Demon Slayer division. That level of questioning can't accurately distinguish the demons in the crowd. Captain, you said there is a kind of demon that is good at camouflage, and even the demon power detector can't distinguish it. How can the Demon Slayer division distinguish between refugees and demons? Guan Shan picked up a piece of fat meat and stuffed it into his mouth. He promised his senior sister that he must eat well when he goes out. Even if he is not in the mood now, he still has to force himself to eat. The Demon Slayer department calls the indistinguishable demons half-demons. They are completely the same as humans. As long as their demon nature is not awakened, they will be no different from ordinary people even if they live to old age. Even they themselves don't know that they are demons. However, once they are awakened under certain circumstances, they will fall into irreversible demonization. Imagine how many casualties those half-demons can cause when they enter human society. The faces of everyone became solemn. The demons are much more insidious and cunning than they imagined. The Demon Slayer department has specially designated an area for those refugees to live temporarily. Once they pass the comprehensive inspection of the Creation Bureau, they can leave. However, they must work and live under the supervision of the Demon Slayer department, and their range of movement will be greatly restricted. They want to live completely like ordinary people. Already. Impossible. Meng Tuo's expression dimmed. He personally brought back at least thousands of refugees. Although he felt sorry for this, he could do nothing about it. Liang Yusin suddenly became anxious. What's the difference between that and being in jail? They worked so hard to escape from Fengdu City, but they are still treated like prisoners. Is this fair, that she was born in the Hunter Guild and has been keen on pursuing freedom since she was a child? She can't accept this practice at all. Guanshan and others' faces also turned very ugly. Meng Tuo took a deep breath and said helplessly, there is no way. This is a conspiracy of the demons. No one knows how many surviving humans there are in Fengdu City. There are only a few thousand people now. If time goes by, this number will become tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands. At that time, it will be a real hot potato. You can neither kill nor release them. You can only let this mine bury deeper and deeper, and the bigger it buries. Guanshan suddenly remembered the girl holding the pottery jar, Tang Bao. Is there no way to catch those lurking demons? Guanshan asked unwillingly. The Creation Bureau has been working hard, and perhaps in the near future, there will be a technological breakthrough. But under the current situation, this is all we can do. The ward suddenly became quiet. Everyone felt like a huge rock was pressing down on their hearts, and they just felt depressed and couldn't be happy. Outside Liming City, a tall black SUV quietly stopped by the roadside. Behind it, there were several modified trucks following closely, and their internal structures didn't seem to be used to transport goods, but rather to transport some kind of weapons. Have you told Yang Chao what I said? Yang Guangxu asked, sitting in the back seat of the SUV, looking at the scenery that was rapidly receding outside the window. I have already told young Master Yang Chao. He is a smart kid and can definitely understand what the Pavilion Master means. Lu Biao said respectfully. Yes. Yang Guangxu's face was frighteningly dark. Lu Biao looked at the truck behind him with some concern and thought for a long time. Although he knew that the boss was in a bad mood at this time, he couldn't help but speak out of his position as a confidant. Boss, if this batch of goods is really shipped out from our hands, we will be equivalent to handing our lives and property to others. If you want to live, you can only rely on others. The car suddenly fell silent. After a long time, Yang Guangxu looked at Lu Biao seriously and said, Old Lu, how do you think I am compared to the two old Guan Pavilion Masters? How capable are you? Pavilion Master, your ability is definitely the strongest among all the previous pavilion masters of Jubao Pavilion, otherwise I would not have joined you so early, but if we have to talk about strength, you have just taken office not long ago, it is true. There is still a little gap. Lu Biao knew that Yang Guangxu was not the kind of person who would not listen to the truth, so he said it in a matter-of-fact manner. Yang Guangxu nodded and said faintly, "You have seen the ending of the two old pavilion masters, haven't you? Even if Jubao Pavilion is rich and wealthy enough to rival a country, so what? After all, they are just a group of mortals. Any venerable can kill into Jubao Pavilion and change the dynasty. The Demon Slayer department doesn't care whether Jubao Pavilion is surnamed Guan or Yang. As long as this dog is obedient." Lu Biao's eyes dimmed at once. He knew that what the boss said was right. Mortals, the impact on this world is really too small. Remember, Lao Lu. It was the Symbiosis Society that chose me, not me who chose the Symbiosis Society. From the day they found me, they didn't give me the option of rejection. Yang Guangxu's voice was a little weak. Just like his fate, life is determined by fate, not by man. Chapter 93 Hometown I Can't Return to. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Changsheng Hall. Lu Changsheng looked towards the direction of Liming City with a gloomy face. Ever since Go Xingzi went to Liming City, the dog system sent him warnings every few days. The most serious one was that the reward amount even reached 3,000 points. He almost couldn't help but want to kill directly to Liming City. I don't know what this Go Xingzi is doing. Lu Changsheng muttered dissatisfiedly, and slowly dispersed the 10,000 god sword in his hand. Master! It's time to eat. Gu Jia's shout came from behind. Lu Changsheng sighed softly and sat at the dining table with an unhappy face. Jiar, you'd better not apply for military school in the future. That place is really dangerous. Lu Changsheng said dissatisfiedly. Okay. Gu Jia handed the prepared meal to the master and said obediently, I will listen to the master. Guzi looked at the master with some doubts. These days, he always jumped up from the folding chair and looked out the door fiercely. After a while, he regained his composure, with a black face. Master, you always stand at the door of the store these days. Are you waiting for someone? Guzi couldn't help his curiosity and asked. No. I'm waiting for your senior brother. Isn't the senior brother in Liming City? Guzi looked at his senior sister in confusion. Gu Jia just smiled and picked up a piece of meaty ribs for him without saying anything. A month passed quickly. Since the encounter with the wolf cavalry, the patrol team has not encountered similar attacks, except for the increasing number of refugees released from Fengdu City every day. The entire front line seems to be strangely quiet. Most of the warnings Lu Changsheng received came from the demons lurking among the refugees. The most dangerous time, Class 197 was almost blown up by a burning bone demon. Fortunately, Meng Tuo reacted in time and blocked the impact of the explosion with his coercion. Otherwise, Class 197 would not be as simple as having a few more curly hairs. Do you feel that the frequency of our scouts seems to be getting higher and higher? On the way back to the camp, Xiao Jiang asked in surprise. Not only are the scouts more active, but many reinforcements have arrived in Dawn City every day recently, from all over the place, and they all come secretly at night. Yang Chao's face was a little worried. Combined with his brother's previous warning, he always had a bad premonition. This is the front line, and wars can break out at any time. Any mobilization is normal. Wang Sheng took over the conversation. After returning to the camp today, our mission will be completed. I just want to break through the 4th level as soon as possible. The awakeners in the extraordinary stage are really nothing. Shall we, when we go back, how about we practice against each other? Wang Xing extended an invitation to Qiao. Shall we? Okay, as long as we don't train with the top of the list, we can't beat him even if we all join together. Shall we agreed without thinking. She gently waved the red tasseled spear and stabbed a beautiful gun flower in the air. Take me too. Xiao Jiang licked his face and stuck to his sister. Me too, me too. Liang Yusin also hurriedly expressed her opinion. Take me too. Yang Chao smiled. The experience in the patrol team made all the recruits of Class 197 deeply realize the gap between extraordinary and walkers. Everyone felt a sense of urgency in their hearts. Guan Shan just wanted to raise his hand to show that he could also participate in the training, but he was stopped by a staff member of the Demon Slayer division in front of the camp. "Are you Guan Shan from the patrol team?" The staff member looked at Guan Shan's face and compared it with the photo on the mobile phone screen. Guan Shan nodded in confusion. He didn't know this strange staff member. "There is a girl named Tang Bao in the refugee camp. She asked me to find you. She has something to tell you. She wants you to go find her. I have delivered the message. It is up to you to decide whether to go or not." After that, the man left without looking back. Tang Bao. Guan Shan muttered the name in a low voice, turned around and asked Meng Tuo, "Captain, we should not have any mission today, right?" "No, your mission has been completed. The newcomers have arrived. I will pick them up in a while. You can move freely today." Meng Tuo stared at the refugees brought back today, carefully distinguished them, and said without looking back. "Okay, Captain." Guan Shan nodded, subconsciously looking towards the southeast of Dawn City, which was the temporary placement of refugees in Dawn City. "Okay, your blood has been drawn, and you can go to the next test." A staff member of the Creation Bureau in a white coat handed a report to Tang Bao. The girl held the cotton swab in her arm and the pot in one hand, and asked fearfully, "Doctor, I have already had my blood drawn many times. Am I okay? The testing standards are different at each stage, and we need more samples." The staff member was reluctant to explain too much, and just pointed to the room at the corner and said, "The next test is over there. You have to move faster. There are more and more new refugees recently, and if you move slowly, you may not be able to finish it in a day." Tang Bao nodded fearfully, and tactfully did not ask any more questions. Since returning to Dawn City, she has felt that in addition to sympathy and concern, there seems to be some unexplained vigilance in the eyes of her compatriots when they look at her. It's like they will turn into terrible monsters. Tang Bao felt a little aggrieved. "Damn, it's not me. Damn it, it's a demon clan." Tang Bao recited it twice in his mind, threw all the bad thoughts out of his mind, and walked cautiously towards the next examination room. "Tang Bao," a somewhat familiar voice interrupted Tang Bao's footsteps. She turned around in disbelief, and a glimmer of light quietly appeared in her eyes. "Benefactor." Tang Bao looked at Guan Shan, who was walking slowly, lowered his head a little shyly, and said timidly, "Did you ask someone to find me?" Guan Shan came to Tang Bao's side and walked side by side with her. "Well, I inquired for a long time before I found out your name, my benefactor. I thought, you wouldn't come. The sister who examined us said there are bad people among us." Tang Bao's voice was a little low. Guan Shan's heart sank. "Don't worry, the Bureau of Fortune will definitely find a way to catch all those bad guys. When the time comes, you can go anywhere." Guan Shan tried to sound as optimistic as possible. "You came to me because someone bullied you?" Guan Shan thought for a moment and then added, "No." Tang Bao shook his head. "Aside from not letting us leave the camp, everyone is still very good to us. I came to you, my benefactor, to ask you to do me a favor. The only person I can trust now is you, my benefactor." Guan Shan was startled and nodded with a complicated expression. "Just tell me. If you can do it, I can help you. My parents met in Yaoguang City. There is a flower field in the southwest outside Yaoguang City, where many sunflowers are planted. That's where my parents fell in love. Dad's last wish is to return to that flower field. He said that only there can he meet his mother again." Tang Bao gently raised the clay pot in his arms, looked into Guan Shan's eyes, and said softly, "Benefactor, can you help me take Dad there?" Guan Shan's heart was extremely heavy. He carefully took the pottery pot and wanted to comfort the girl in front of him. "I can put your father in the Changsheng Hall first. When you return to Yaoguang City, we can find a place with the most sunflowers together so that your father can rest peacefully. Don't worry, Changsheng Hall is the safest place in the world. Guan Shan said emphatically as if he was afraid that the girl would worry. When Tang Bao saw his benefactor agreeing to help him, a big stone hanging in his heart finally fell to the ground. The corners of her mouth were slightly raised, and she used all her strength to force out a smile. Benefactor. I know. It is impossible for people in the refugee camp to be arranged to Yaoguang City. There's no going back. Chapter 94 Hope and Enemy Attack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Guan Shan had many words in his heart, and he wanted to say them one after another, such as hope, future, freedom, but he always felt that something was blocking him. He could only think about them in his mind. He couldn't say a single word. That small pottery jar made the third-level awakener feel extremely heavy. Tang Bao looked deeply at his benefactor. Finally, a look of relief and sadness appeared on her face. She moved her lips and whispered, "Benefactor, thank you, I still have a few physical examinations to do, so I'll leave first." The girl's figure gradually went away. Finally, she disappeared at a corner. Guan Shan couldn't say a word of what he had in mind. Top of the list, where did you go just now? Old Li said that our performance exceeded expectations, and he actually treated us to a big meal for the first time. Liang Yusin saw Guan Shan from a distance, jumped up excitedly, and kept waving her arms. "What's that in your arms?" Guan Shan protected the pottery jar with both hands, carefully put it in his luggage, and wrapped it with several layers of clothes to ensure that it would not be damaged when moving. After carefully packing the suitcase, Guan Shan spoke faintly, "A hope." He didn't explain more. "Yusin, do you want to eat this? If not, I'll eat it." Xiao Shelwi took advantage of Liang Yusin's speech and snatched her big chicken leg and stuffed it into her mouth. In Class 197, you can let your teammates help you block the gun, but you must never snatch your teammates' chicken legs. Xiao, Xiao, Hui. Liang Yusin gritted her teeth and threatened word by word. She had no time to pay attention to Guan Shan, and rushed towards Xiao Shaohui like a hungry tiger. The two soon wrestled together, and occasionally took a bite of food. The tent was noisy, with fighting, chewing, and laughter intertwined. How could a young man know the taste of sorrow? Outside the City of Dawn, a military vehicle slowly stopped next to an off-road vehicle. The window was rolled down a little, and the appearance of the car could not be seen clearly. Did the driver explain everything clearly? A cold voice came out, and it was impossible to tell whether it was a man or a woman. The driver has explained everything. They know that they can't come back this time. Their families will all work in Jubao Pavilion and no longer have to worry about their livelihood. Yang Guangxiu stood respectfully beside the car, not daring to look up at the military vehicle. Okay. The military vehicle started again, and the windows slowly rolled up. Those obviously modified trucks followed the military vehicles. For some reason, they seemed to be driving in a sneaky way. "Boss, how do you think the people from the Symbiosis Society get all these trucks out of Dawn City? Isn't this a big target?" Lu Biao handed the boss a toasted cigar and said with some doubt. "I don't know how they are going to transport the goods out. I only know that the supplies shipped to Dawn City in the past month are at least 3 times more than usual." Yang Shuguang said thoughtfully. "Boss, what do you mean?" Before Lu Biao finished speaking, he was interrupted by a sharp alarm. His pupils suddenly contracted, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. As the boss's representative, he often appeared in major cities and had done homework on the alarms of each city. Lu Biao knew very well what this alarm meant. Enemy attack. Everyone enter combat mode. Accompanied by the piercing sound, the entire Dawn City was moving rapidly. The crossbow carts and artillery on the city wall were all loaded, and countless crystal core shells were transported to the top of the city. With the magic circle fully activated, these violent war weapons finally showed their majesty. The air was full of the smell of burnt energy flowing, like a volcano about to erupt. With overwhelming power, all the 6th-level walkers took off on the spot, and one after another, the figures wrapped in pressure rushed to the artillery tower like meteors to gather. More soldiers gathered under the city, climbed the city wall in an orderly manner, and entered their own deployment positions. In the center of the city wall, the most conspicuous position, Lin Yuan stood proudly, holding a white jade spear in his hand, and his dark golden armor was shining. He looked at the distance quietly, and the pressure of the 8th level peak in his body was hidden, as if every breath could resonate with the world. At the end where Lin Yuan was looking, on the horizon, a black fog slowly floated up. At first, it was only the size of a thumb, and soon it became the size of a palm. In just a few breaths, the black fog spread rapidly, covering the entire sky, covering the sky and the sun. That was not an ordinary dark cloud, rather, it was an extremely strong demonic power that condensed into substance and floated in the air in a visible posture. On the ground, countless demons roared and roared, rushing towards Dawn City. In the air, a huge figure hundreds of meters long was looming in the demon cloud. If it weren't for the scarlet light flashing from time to time in the demon cloud, proving that it was a living creature, I'm afraid no one would believe that the enemy they were about to face was such a monster. The demons were several kilometers away, but the feeling of the black cloud pressing down on the city had already weighed on the hearts of all human beings. As the demon army advanced, the ground trembled slightly, the smoke and dust stirred up in the sky gradually approached with the pitch-black demon cloud, as if to devour the entire Dawn City. Roar! Accompanied by a huge roar from the air. All the demons accelerated their pace of marching. The burning bone demon and the hellhound in the front row charged with their hands and feet. The sturdy giant demon dragged the demon chariot and followed closely behind. On the chariot, there was a group of heavily protected Sukuna ghost mothers, ready to revive the cannon fodder killed in the front row at any time. Those great demons comparable to the venerables all restrained their own breath, mixed in the large army, waiting at any time to tear a fatal hole in the most vulnerable place of the human race. The endless demon army was getting closer and closer. The human race in the city could even smell the unique smell of corruption on the demons. The demon aura permeated the dawn. Lin Yuan looked at the demon army, took a step, and rose into the air. Under the gaze of all the human race, he turned his wrist and pointed his white jade spear directly at the invading enemy. One person faced 1,000,000 troops. All members of the Demon Slayer division. Draw your swords to meet the enemy. That his voice was vigorous and powerful, majestic and domineering. It resounded throughout the city. His peak cultivation was no longer restrained, and the surging momentum swept like a tsunami. Even those low-level demons who didn't know what fear was, trembled inexplicably. At this moment, everyone seemed to have found a backbone in their hearts. As long as the military marquee is still there, the sky will not fall. No matter how difficult the situation is, as long as they see that person is still there, everyone's hope is still there. Finally, Lin Yuan waved his spear and issued an order to start the war. All troops attack. Destroy the demon race. Chapter 95. You are my best students. You are listening at novelfull.audio. All the 197th class in the tent were stunned, staring straight at the direction where the demons were attacking. The violent demon aura was still clearly audible even through the thick city walls and several kilometers away. Google search twkan.li. Yunxian reacted the fastest. He threw his most precious mobile phone to Yang Chao and said, I edited a circle of friends. If I die in battle, remember to help me post it. In his impression, Yang Chao was the most cowardly in the 197th class. This job is the most secure when it is handed over to him. Oldly, we can also fight. Xiao Jiang said anxiously. What is your military position? Why do you go to the battlefield? Li Yunxian rolled his eyes and said unhappily. We are patrol members. We were on duty just this morning. Liang Yusin added with some dissatisfaction. Patrol is bullshit, the shift has been changed. You are now a group of students with no military positions. Don't go to the battlefield to cause trouble. Li Yunxian ignored the students' protests and opened the curtain of the tent. He did not leave directly, but turned his back to the students and said seriously. Remember what the teacher taught you. What you need to learn most now is how to survive until you can really hold up the sky of the human race. We are here for the war, so you don't have to worry about it. And the wolf cavalry is not in my plan. I am really proud that you can come back alive. You are the best students I have ever taught. After saying that, Li Yunxian stepped out of the tent and turned into a dazzling meteor, leaping up and rushing into the sky. Everyone in class 197 was stunned. They had never seen Li Yunxian so serious, and they just felt like they were meeting that unreliable teacher for the first time, until... No. Lao Li, you didn't tell me the password, how can I help you send it? Yang Chao said helplessly, on the mobile phone screen, Li Yunxuan's extremely coquettish selfie. Now it seems that it is not so eye-catching. The artillery on the wall was fired, and the artillery under the blessing of the rune formation, just after it was fired, it turned into meteors and smashed into the enemy formation, boom, 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 each shell can leave a huge hole on the ground, and on the battlefield. Broken limbs and arms are flying all over the sky, but those demon vanguards are still sprinting forward fearlessly, even if there are corpses of the same kind under their feet. There is no hesitation. The losses of the demons are very heavy, but the speed of advancement is also very fast. One after another, figures soared into the sky, cooperated with teammates charging on the ground, killed into the enemy formation, and continued to strangle. Lin Yuan stared at the demon cloud above his head with burning eyes, and his aura kept rising, as if it would never reach the end. I will deal with Yuliu, and the task of command will be handed over to you. After handing over the heavy responsibility of command to Wang Shilong, the arcs around Lin Yuan jumped wildly, but in a moment, the whole person turned into a thunder and rushed straight to the huge figure in the demon cloud. In the demon cloud, two violent auras collided wildly, stirring up gusts of wind. Just the aftermath of the battle can make thousands of creatures on the battlefield feel the oppression of destroying the world. The battle between one man and one demon seemed to poke a hole in the sky. In the air, the 6th-level walkers fought against each other, and various superpowers kept flashing, like the blooming fireworks, but this beautiful picture must be fueled by life. Even if the 6th-level walker with extremely strong vitality is exhausted on the battlefield, he will be torn into pieces in an instant and die without a complete body. On the ground, the 4th and 5th-level walkers formed various military formations, and under the cover of artillery and crossbows, they charged directly into the demon army. Even if they had to exchange their lives for theirs, they would gnaw a big hole. On the battlefield, shouts, roars, and roars came one after another. The smell of blood and rot, mixed together, like hell descending. At this moment, a huge falcon suddenly rushed out of the demon army. Its speed was extremely fast, and it had already flown in front of Dawn City almost the moment it appeared. It opened its huge beak and roared wildly. That sound was like the struggle of a human before death, and also like the desperate howl of a beast, harsh, desolate, and painful. The wailing covered all the sounds of the battlefield, resounding throughout the city, making people shudder. The next second, snap, the falcon exploded into a blood mist in the air and drifted down. What are you yelling about? Shut up! Wang Shilong retracted his right hand and cursed unhappily. His eyes kept searching among the demons, trying to find those hidden demons. In the demon army that swarmed like locusts, several black shadows suddenly jumped out. In an instant, they smashed the human battle formation in the front. Those 4th and 5th level walkers were torn into pieces just by the aftermath of the demon power, and they were completely unable to stop it. Here they come. Wang Shilong waved his hand, and behind the Dawn City, in the corner where the demons could not see, several golden lights shot up and rushed straight towards the demons. 7th level against 7th level, 8th level against 8th level, the peak combat power of the human race and the demon race collided fiercely, and even Wang Shilong personally went to kill a big demon with 6 scorpion tails on its back. Just then, boom, 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 a huge explosion sounded behind Wang Shilong, and black smoke curled up. His heart sank suddenly. When did the demon clan come to Dawn City? The monsters are coming in. Class 197 all left the camp and looked in the direction of the explosion. Boom, another loud bang. There seemed to be a faint burning smell in the air. In Dawn City, fires continue to light up. It's the direction of the refugee camp. Guan Shan yelled. Everyone in Class 197 had already put on their weapons and equipment and rushed towards the direction of the explosion without any hesitation. Lao Li said that they cannot go to the battlefield as it will cause trouble to the front line, but the monsters have all gone to Dawn City. If they can't make it, then they really don't deserve to be military academy students. As they got closer to the refugee camp, the sounds of explosions and fire became increasingly clear. They could see thick smoke rising in the sky, and the burning smell in the air hit their nostrils. Be careful. Liang Yusin shouted. A silver-white silk thread grabbed Xiao Xiaowei and threw her to the side. At the same time as Xiao Xiaowei's body flew out, a bone-burning demon covered in bone spurs rushed out of the dark alley. The bones all over the bone-burning demon's body were already glowing red. The next second, boom, an ice wall and an earth wall rose almost at the same time, reduced the impact of the explosion. But the blazing high temperature still exploded the buildings on both sides. Guan Shan stopped and slowly turned his head. The refugee camp is close at hand, but it was completely different from what he remembered. Countless bone-burning demons rushed out of the refugee camp and swarmed in all directions. Their ferocious white bones pierced out from their joints, and their flesh, and internal organs fell off as they ran, leaving bright red all over the ground. What frightened Guan Shan the most was, those bone-burning demons were all wearing the uniforms issued by the refugee camp. Chapter 96. You can go home now. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside the refugee camp. Save the crossbows. Prioritize killing those rushing towards the city wall. Guan Shan raised the military crossbow in one hand and a 10,000 god sword in the other, shouting loudly. These refugees are all spies of the demon race. Google search TWKN. Fuck, all of them. Xiao Jiang roared angrily, thinking of the fact that they risked their lives to bring back a large number of refugees this month. He could not help but get furious. Wang Xing shot another arrow and shot a bone-burning demon in the head on the spot. Calm down. There are still humans in the refugee camp, look carefully. Wang Xing shouted. Xiao Jiang followed Wang Xing's line of sight. A cold corpse lay at the gate of the refugee camp, constantly trampled by the bone-burning demon, and was already bloody. Fuck. Xiao Jiang's eyes were red, and he subconsciously reached for the quiver, but found that all 24 crossbow arrows had been shot out. No, we have to go back to get crossbows. Although these burning bone demons are first-level demons, they will explode when they get close. Without crossbows, we lack long-range offensive means. Wang Xing said anxiously. It's too late. Wang Xing, Xiaowei, your abilities are not suitable for dealing with burning bone demons. Yusin and I will give you crossbows. Pay attention to cover me. Yang Chao, go back to get arrows, go and come back quickly. Xiao Jiang, don't use your abilities randomly. If there are fish that slip through the net, you have to protect your teammates. Yusin, give me an increase, let's go in. Guanshan spoke quickly, everyone acted without hesitation. Silver silk threads fell from the sky and connected to Guanshan's back. He handed all the remaining crossbows to his companions, and a burst of ice mist appeared all over his body, and he rushed straight into the refugee camp. Everyone in Class 197 slowly followed Guanshan, providing him with long-range firepower support. Puff, everywhere the 10,000 god sword passed, everything exploded into pieces of ice. Every time Guanshan swung the sword, he used his supernatural power when he was almost close to the enemy, freezing the crystal core of the burning bone demon, so that they could not explode smoothly, and as he killed more and more people, his control over supernatural power became more and more precise. There was no extra waste at all. Wang Xing followed behind him, staring at Guanshan's performance in amazement, and swallowed his saliva subconsciously. Guanshan. Is this another breakthrough? When did he become so strong? As the person who cooperated the most and was most familiar with Guanshan, Liang Yusin shook her head gently. He is still at the 3rd level, but this level of battle is too easy for him. Guanshan's training has always been carried out in a powerful state. He has long been accustomed to the 4th level fighting method. Now when he uses the 3rd level ability, he will subconsciously use the 4th level control of supernatural power. Wang Xing clenched his fists tightly. He could have comforted himself that Guanshan was strong, but it was also based on teamwork, and everyone served him. If it really came down to a one-on-one duel, if Guanshan didn't use his ultimate, he wouldn't necessarily lose so badly, but now it seems, the gap between him and Guanshan has long been a generation gap. No matter how hard a 3rd level extraordinary person tries, he can't understand the ability of a 4th level walker. The role of the energy shield is not just reflected in defense, for the control of superpowers, strength, speed, reaction, and everything needed for combat. all can be greatly improved, even a pair of children's scissors, as long as it is attached with superpowers, can still easily poke a hole in the human body. In the world of awakeners, each level of leap is a qualitative change, among which the 4th and 7th levels are the most important. Breaking through the 4th level to become a walker is the real capital to go to the battlefield, while the 7th level venerable is out of the scope of human beings and becomes another kind of creature. Liang Yusin said calmly, everything Guanshan got is what he deserves. When we were training, shouting "playing for life" was just a slogan. He was the one who really played for life. If we want to catch up with him, we have to play for life, too. After that, she raised her right hand, and a few thin silver threads wrapped around the 2 burning bone demons that rushed out of the shadows, and suddenly pulled them into the air. The silver threads quickly twisted them into a twist, but the burning bone demon's body quickly expanded in the air, and the white bones glowed red. It was about to explode. It was a critical moment. Wang Sheng and Xiao Xiaowei imitated Guanshan and used their own pressure to temporarily suppress the burning bone demon's demonic power. One of them held a knife and the other waved a gun, and jumped high. In the second before the explosion, they blew up their heads, looking at the broken body of the burning bone demon falling silently. The two looked at each other with lingering fear, their hearts pounded. Sure. What Guanshan can do, they can do too. Who says they can only rely on Guanshan every time? They are also members of Class 197. When it's time to fight, they will never back down. Swish! The 10,000 gods sword was swung out again, slicing off 2 heads that were left with only bones. With a crack, it fell to the ground and broke into pieces. Guanshan's hand holding the sword trembled slightly, and his mood became inexplicably irritated. He looked back and saw no living creature around him, except for the slowly approaching figures of his teammates. There was only the sound of the fire crackling. The power supply system of the refugee camp had already collapsed. In the dim corridor, smoke and dust rolled. In the corner of Guanshan's eyes, a small figure curled up in the corner. Guanshan's pupils suddenly contracted, his mind went blank with a boom, and he rushed forward. Tang Bao leaned against the wall with her head lowered, blood dripping down her forehead, soaking the clothes in front of her. Her body was covered with dust, and she could hardly feel any life. Guanshan hurriedly pulled out the healing potion from his waist and injected it into Tang Bao's arm. The emerald green potion flowed along the needle, and the thin figure seemed to tremble slightly. Healing potion. Hurry up! Guanshan shouted anxiously to his companions. Liang Yusin and Xiao Jiang rushed over, took out their own healing potions and handed them to Guanshan, carefully guarding on both sides of him to prevent any fish from slipping through the net in the building. The second one, the third one, under the stimulation of the 3 healing potions, Tang Bao's face slowly regained some color, her body fell gently, and she felt as if she was lying in her father's arms, so warm. Tang Bao. Don't sleep. I'll take you to the medical class, you will definitely survive. Guanshan put Tang Bao's hands in front of him, carried him on his back, and rushed out desperately. Everyone hurried to catch up. Benefactor. Is it you? Tang Bao's voice was very weak. Even if her face was close to Guanshan, she couldn't hear it clearly. Feeling the cold touch on his back, Guanshan's mind was a mess. Just relying on instinct, he kept rushing to the treatment class. Tang Bao, it will be there soon. We will be there soon. Guanshan's voice was trembling, and he could not tell whether he was speaking to the girl or to himself. Benefactor. I am really not a demon. Tang Bao's voice was intermittent, and he would spit out a mouthful of blood foam every time he spoke a word. I know. I know you are a human. Tang Bao, stop talking, we will be there soon. Look, the medical team is in front. Guanshan could already see the camp of the medical team, which was not attacked by the demons. He said excitedly. They all say that the blood of the demon race is green, and only the blood of the human race is red. My eyes can't see. Benefactor, can you tell me my blood? What color is it? Guanshan said anxiously. It's red. You are a human, you are not a demon. Don't worry, Tang Bao, you are definitely a human. This time, you can really go home. You can take your father back to Yaoguang City, back to the flower fields, back to the sunflowers all over the mountains. You can. Guan Shan's words came to an abrupt end. He stopped abruptly. Everyone looked at Guan Shan in confusion, but he just slowly lowered his head, letting the scattered hair on his forehead hide his eyes. Just now, the girl behind him, whose already weak heartbeat, completely stopped. Tang Bao's mouth corners slightly raised. With a sweet smile, it seemed that she really saw it, saw Yaoguang City, saw the flower fields, and the sunflowers all over the mountains. Chapter 97. One man can defeat 1,000,000 soldiers. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Die! Li Yunxian shouted loudly in the air, and the swirling airflow twisted the monster in front of him into a twist, like twisting a towel, spraying black blood all over the sky. The corpses fell from the air and hit the ground hard, making them extremely dead. Li Yunxian took out the healing potion from his waist and plunged it into his leg. Some color returned to his pale face. He looked around the battlefield and saw that all Sunhua ghost mothers had been annihilated, and those annoying cannon fodder finally stopped getting up from the ground. The battle on the ground has also entered a stalemate stage. Whichever side has high-end combat power can win this battle. Why is there no support from Skyvault? There are obviously monsters making trouble in Dawn City. Why doesn't the teacher order help? Thoughts were racing in Li Yunxuan's mind. Soon, he gave up thinking. Being distracted on the battlefield is the same as seeking death. Li Yunxian shook his head and chose to believe in his teacher. As the treatment potion began to take effect, Li Yunxuan's momentum increased again. Once again, he entered the demon group. Poof, poof, poof. The 10,000 god sword is like a sickle, constantly harvesting the demon clan in the city, Guan Shan said. Nothing, just keep swinging the sword. There was only one thought left in his mind: kill them all. Leave no one behind. As the battle continued, he suffered more and more injuries, and no matter how hard you save your superpowers, they are already on the verge of exhaustion after a long battle. Wang Sheng, the Qiao brothers and sisters, and Liang Yusin retreated while fighting. Everyone in Class 197 was almost retreating to the city wall. There will be no retreat soon. In the sky, a falcon circled down, and Yang Chao said anxiously, "No, there are too many bone-burning demons. They are all over the city, and they are all coming here. All the travelers in the city have gone to the front line, and only Chao Fan, who is in charge of logistics, is still resisting. There are at least thousands of refugees in the city, and we can't kill them all." After learning the specific number of enemies, everyone in Class 197 felt as if a huge boulder was hanging in their hearts, ready to fall at any time. They supported each other, leaning against the city wall, panting in embarrassment. There was a long silence. Thousands of bone-burning demons cannot be carried by the city wall. Guan Shan spoke first, breaking the silence. With the city wall gone, the artillery and ballistae are useless, and those low-level monsters can march straight into Dawn City. If Dawn City is broken, next, it's Sun City. Then, it's the light. If the light is broken, Tang Bao really won't be able to return home. Everyone turned their heads to Guan Shan and listened quietly. The expressions on everyone's faces were different. There is sadness, self-blame, and escape. Guan Shan held his knees, slowly stood up from the ground, and said lightly, "When I was in Yaoguang City, I escaped. When we were in Changsheng, we also escaped. When we were in Donglin City, we still escaped. When I was in Annan City, I told myself that I couldn't escape anymore, but, seeing those guards dying trying to save me, I still escaped. I told myself, I can't let their sacrifices be in vain. I must remain useful in order to avenge them. I can always find various reasons to run away. It's not shameful. 30 years in Hedong and 30 years in Heshi. Who knows what the future will bring? But every time in the dead of night, I always hear a voice. That voice reminds me all the time. I will always be just a deserter." Guan Shan closed his eyes slightly, seeming to be lost in memories. After a while, he slowly opened his eyes and spoke word by word. "This time, I don't want to run away." Liang Yusin looked at Guan Shan quietly without saying a single unnecessary word, but silently loaded the arrows for the crossbow. The Qiao brothers and sisters looked at each other, slid down the wall and sat on the ground in tacit agreement, constantly adjusting their breathing so that they could recover more of their powers. Wang Xing came to Guan Shan's side, bent down with his hands on his knees, panting heavily, and said, "I have never seen what Guan Shan was like in the past. The Guan Shan I know has never been a deserter." Guan Shan was startled, the body trembled slightly, soon, it returned to normal. Yang Chao looked at his teammates' generous sacrifices and felt that he always felt out of place. Just as he was about to speak, he was interrupted by a strange voice. Crunch crunch crunch. The unique walking sounds of the bone-burning demon kept coming, becoming more and more numerous and dense. Among the endless demon group, more than a dozen figures stood out. "Isn't that person the staff member responsible for refugee inquiries?" Liang Yusin said with some confusion. "And that one, I recognize him. He's from the cooking class. I even asked him for chicken legs." Xiao Xiaohui also recognized the person. How did they escape the detection of the demon clan and dare to get so close to the bone-burning demon? Guan Shan frowned, and a chill hit his heart. Did they escape the detection of the demon clan? They are also demons, half-demon. This thought came to everyone's mind in class 197, as if to verify everyone's guess. The half-demons in the demon group showed their true bodies one by one, their bodies twisted unnaturally, and their bodies expanded rapidly, bursting the uniforms on their bodies in an instant. Scales quickly emerged on the originally normal skin, and soon covered the whole body. The height of the half-demon quickly reached 2 meters, and the four flesh and blood behind it broke through the skin, swaying and entangled in the air, and slowly turned into the shape of a scorpion tail. The 4 scorpion tails slowly bent into shape and stood horizontally in front of the half-demon. As the form changed, the half-demon's ability levels also climbed rapidly, from level 3, to level 4, to level 5, finally fixed at the peak of level 6. This is the highest level they can maintain sanity. 13 peak level 6 demons. There is no solution to the killing situation. Yang Chao said anxiously, "Master Guan, we can't stop them. It's been a long time since those beasts appeared. No one from the front line has been sent back to help, which means that the front line has also been delayed. We can't stop them." "Who said there is no support?" Guan Shan gently grasped the silver necklace in front of him and broke it violently. "Defend the city wall. Wait for support. Master Guan." Yang Chao was really anxious. What kind of support can stop 13 6th-level peak walkers? Don't be crazy again. The support I called for can be countered by 1 million soldiers. Guan Shan clenched the sword in his hand tightly and activated Rage of Vengeance. The nearly exhausted superpowers filled his body again, and the 10,000 God's sword also lit up with a cold white light. He looked at the approaching monsters calmly, slowly raised the 10,000 God's sword, and shouted word by word. "Everyone in class 197. Draw your swords to fight." As he roared, Wang Sheng, Xiao Jiang, Xiao Xiaohui, and Liang Yusin all raised their weapons. Yang Chao panted violently and angrily cursed 3 times, "Madman, madman, madman." But he did not ride the falcon to escape alone. Instead, he drew out the sword at his waist with trembling hands and stood it horizontally in front of him. Everyone in class 197 knew they would die, but no one retreated, even 1 step. Chapter 98. Who did it? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The half-demon didn't take these extraordinary people seriously at all. They have been lurking for decades, just so that one day they can stab the human race hard in the heart. How could it be blocked by such a few small extraordinary beings? The 13 half-demon moved together, and the overwhelming pressure trapped everyone in class 197. Even the strongest Guan Shan could not move and could only watch helplessly as the group of half-demon charged towards him. In Guan Shan's pupils, the 4 ferocious scorpion tails became increasingly clear. The unique smell of corruption from the demon tribe filled his nose. The wind pressure brought by the demon power easily dissipated his protective energy. Swing your sword. Swing your sword, swing your sword. Swing the sword, swing the sword. Guan Shan kept shouting in his heart, but his body seemed to be filled with lead and he couldn't obey his orders at all. Hurry up. Get moving. At the moment of life and death, there was only one thought left in Guan Shan's mind: kill the demon. The invisible shackles in his body seemed to be shattered by this will. A brand new power poured into his limbs. Guan Shan finally got rid of the restriction of coercion, used all his strength, and swung the sword fiercely. The 10,000 gods sword drained all the supernatural powers from Guan Shan. The silver-white long sword was wrapped in a dazzling sword light and stabbed fiercely at the dark scorpion tail. Click. The sword light passed through the half-demon's energy shield, leaving a shallow scratch on the hard carapace. As the sword body and the scorpion tail collided, a huge force cracked Guan Shan's tiger's mouth. The 10,000 gods sword broke into 2 pieces, and the broken sword flew into the air. Before it hit the ground, it turned into a little bit of energy and disappeared without a trace. Is this my limit? Guan Shan chuckled and faced his own death calmly. In this last moment, time seemed to have stood still. Life flashes through my mind as fast as a revolving lantern, the memories of more than 10 years, half the life was rich and the other half was wandering. He could no longer tell whether it was the hatred for his enemies or the hatred for the demon clan that supported him in fighting. Maybe it's both. However, it is no longer important. He knew that the master would come. Master will definitely kill these beasts. It's just a pity. I really want to eat the pork ribs made by my senior sister again. What kind of person is Erguzi? The one who can be brought home by the master must be a good boy too. My teammates should be able to survive. Those 13 half-demons seem to be coming for me. I don't know if there will be an afterlife after death. Master, if there is an afterlife, I still want to be your apprentice. Guan Shan retracted his thoughts, and the huge scorpion tail had already stabbed in front of him, only an inch away from piercing his head, but this short inch is like a chasm. Click. Along with a teeth-piercing crisp sound, the half-demon's body trembled violently, the hard carapace shattered out of thin air, and the cracks continued to extend from the forehead downwards. Click, click, the huge body slowly split into 2 halves from the middle. He fell heavily to the ground, blood splashes. The flesh and blood and internal organs flowed all over the ground along with the ink-like black blood. In Guan Shan's eyes, a familiar figure slowly turned from transparent to clear. Lu Changsheng was dressed in a black outfit, holding the 10,000 god sword, and turned around slowly. Demon blood was spread all over his body, making it difficult to see his expression. Lu Changsheng looked at the scarred apprentice. His eyelids twitched a few times, and the hand holding the sword tightened. He wiped the black blood on his face with the back of his hand and said softly like he did when they first met. Don't be afraid, Go Xingzi, the master is here. Master. Guan Shan's eyes were a little blurry, and he couldn't tell whether the last scene he saw was reality or a fantasy before his death. At this moment, he just wanted to say what he wanted to say deep down in his heart all at once. I still couldn't save Tang Bao. I can't do it. Every time, I can't do it. She's dead. She can obviously go home. But I can only watch. I can't do anything. Guan Shan choked and said like a child who had been wronged outside. He felt as if there was a big net in his heart, tangled and entangled, getting tighter and tighter, reaching straight to his heart. There is a dull pain that won't give up. Lu Changsheng did not ask who Tang Bao was, but gently stroked his apprentice's head and said quietly, "Who did it?" Guan Shan raised his head fiercely, stared at the demon group behind his master, gritted his teeth and said with trembling, "The demon clan." His eyes were red, with blood and tears streaming down the corners of his eyes, still staring straight ahead. Okay. Lu Changsheng responded softly. Liang Yusin looked at the scene in front of her in shock, her mind going blank. Isn't he the boss of Changsheng? When did he appear? Why do all those half-demons seem to have seen a ghost? Even though this man has his back to them, he still looks like he is facing a formidable enemy. Is this the support Guan Shan mentioned? That big boss who can resist 1,000,000 troops alone? Lu Changsheng didn't have time to guess the inner thoughts of these little guys. He summoned the red and black mask with one hand and put it on his face. The long-lost cold touch made his killing intent even more boiling. Lu Changsheng put a finger against his mouth and made a hushed gesture to the people in class 197. The next second, hot blood splattered and heads flew. Screams, roars, and roars sounded at the same time. The 12 half-demons attacked everything around them frantically. and countless scorpion tails were like hydraulic hammers, madly bombarding the ground, smashed out one big pit after another. Lu Changsheng could easily slaughter the enemy group without even turning on rage of vengeance. The whole Dawn City was full of lingering demonic energy. For thousands of awakened people, those demonic spirits are a breath of despair, but for Lu Changsheng, they are endless power banks. Under the blessing of God's Spirit, Lu Changsheng's momentum continued to rise, and he had already reached the strength of a venerable, and it seemed that there was no end, and it was still constantly strengthening. The half-demons fell one by one. Even if they danced the scorpion tail out of the afterimage, they could not stop the invisible butcher knife. Liang Yusin swallowed her saliva subconsciously. It's not that she had never seen a venerable, but it was the first time to watch the venerable's actual combat at such a close distance. Those terrible half-demons, even the weakest one among them, could easily strangle Class 197, but in front of the real venerable, they were still like chickens and dogs, and had no power to resist at all. Everyone felt dry mouth and stared at the half-demons being blown into pieces. Xiao Jiang opened his mouth too wide, and was choked by the wind and sand blowing in his face, and started coughing wildly. Even so, he was reluctant to look away, staring at the boss's performance. Snap! The last half-demon's head was also slapped into pieces by Lu Changsheng. The huge corpse fell down weakly, and after its limbs twitched a few times like electric shock, there was no movement. Lu Changsheng slowly showed his true body and looked around. The densely packed bone-burning demons were all intimidated by his pressure, like wooden sculptures, unable to move. Lu Changsheng did not rush to deal with these small fish, but returned to his apprentice. He knew that Go Xingzi's time was coming. Go Xingzi, rest at ease. These beasts, master will definitely make them pay the price. Guan Shan looked at his master with difficulty. His body fell down weakly, and lay in his master's arms, without a trace of breath. In his hand, the half-broken sword was still tightly grasped. Chapter 99, Fighting Alone Against Monsters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Changsheng gently put Guan Shan down. He closed his eyes slightly and used his coercion to sense everything around him. The entire Dawn City was clearly visible in Lu Changsheng's eyes, the location of each burning bone demon, their current state, and even the beating demon crystal core under the white bones, were all visible. Lu Changsheng slowly raised his right hand and pointed his long sword to the sky. Thousands of burning bone demons stopped moving at the same time, as if they were paused by an irresistible supreme will. The next second, the long sword fell. The violent coercion came down accurately, smashing countless tiny holes in the ground. All the burning bone demons were crushed into pieces in an instant. The broken limbs and bones were rolled up with the smoke and dust, and the whole Dawn City was filled with a strong stench, a real bloody storm. The movement in Dawn City naturally attracted the attention of the battlefield. Yulio roared angrily, fighting against the thunder around him. Dark green demon blood kept falling from the sky, dripping onto the ground, corroding the ground into terrible holes. In the huge demon cloud, terrifying energy fluctuations kept colliding. Boom! After another explosion, a man and a demon retreated hundreds of meters at the same time. Before Yulio's body stopped, he suddenly opened his huge mouth and spit out a large amount of poisonous fog. Lin Yuan and Yulio had fought many times and knew the power of this poisonous fog. He could only give up the fight temporarily and evacuated the demon cloud. The thunder around him turned into an electric net. The moment the poisonous fog from the sky touched the thunder of the tree stump, it crackled and purified into curling green smoke. Yulio took advantage of this attack and flew back quickly. In order to take down Dawn City in this attack, the demon clan did not hesitate to awaken all the half-demons who had been lurking for decades to attack from both inside and outside. Yulio had taken into account all the combat power and deployment of the human race, and the timing of awakening the half-demon was just right. Unless Lin Yuan awakened the Venerable from the Sky Dome in advance, Dawn City would be broken today. But unfortunately, at the last moment, a stink bug was killed. It ruined its good deeds. The demon race invested so much, but ultimately failed. Yulio could not accept this outcome, but he also knew that there was no hope of breaking the city. Even if he was unwilling in his heart, he could only issue an order to retreat. The huge snake head looked back in the air. The scarlet vertical pupils stared at the direction of Dawn City, as if he wanted to see through the city wall and remember the appearance of that human. the demon race on the battlefield left behind a large group of cannon fodder for cover, and the large army retreated like a tide. The demon clouds in the sky quickly dissipated, and the fresh air was inhaled into the lungs of everyone again. Everyone was excited. We won. Deafening cheers echoed throughout the battlefield. We won. Li Yunxian slowly descended from the sky, looking at the retreating demon army, and subconsciously wanted to take out his phone to take a selfie with the fleeing demons. Damn it. I should have brought another phone with me. Li Yunxian fell to the ground helplessly, cursing helplessly. General, aren't we going to pursue? Wang Shilong looked at Lin Yuan, who flew back to the top of the city, and asked reluctantly. Wang Shilong's armor was already covered with blood, but his breath was still stable, and there would be no problem even if he fought for another day. Lin Yuan put away the white jade spear, stood on the city wall with his hands behind his back, quietly watching the direction where the demons retreated, and said lightly, Yulio and the big demon are here, their combat power has not been damaged, don't chase blindly, be careful of being ambushed. This time the demons attacked, they didn't have the mentality of fighting to the death, they also know that the demon tide is the time for the decisive battle. We took this opportunity to wipe out all the undercovers of the demons, which is already a great victory. Did you arrange the ghost snake? It's really a good move. Wang Shilong was stunned and said with a little hesitation, I arranged a backup, but, it's not the ghost snake. Lin Yuan rarely showed a puzzled expression, turned his head with some surprise, and looked into the City of Dawn. Victory. Win. I survived. On the battlefield, in the City of Dawn, people were cheering for the victory of the human race everywhere. Everyone was glad that they could see the sun tomorrow. Everyone was imagining that the future would be better. This ending can satisfy most people, except one person. Liang Yusin held Guan Shan's body in her arms, excitedly sharing the joy of victory with her companions. But out of the corner of her eye, she saw a ghostly figure silently walking out of the city gate. She asked with some surprise, Lu. Lord Ghost Snake. Where are you going? In Lu Changsheng's vision, Liming City was wailing, roaring unwillingly, and struggling desperately. Countless Tangbao lost their lives, but no one knew their names. Lu Changsheng's voice came through the mask, extremely cold. They haven't paid the price yet. You can't, just leave like this. The voice fell. The figure soared into the sky and went straight up to the sky. A gust of wind suddenly rose, and the dust on the ground was swept up by this huge force, the direction of the smoke and dust, directly pointing to the demon cloud. One man kills millions of soldiers. The figure of Lu Changsheng passed over everyone's head like a comet. The joyful atmosphere in Dawn City came to an abrupt end, and everyone looked at the light in confusion. Isn't it already victorious? It's so hard to survive. Why, want to die? Is he not going to die? The whole Dawn City almost couldn't stop it. What can one person change? Yulio noticed the pursuers coming from behind and turned back angrily. Human race, do you still want to fight? When it saw clearly that there was only one pursuer, and that breath was so familiar, it went berserk in an instant. Yulio's huge mouth suddenly opened, and he roared angrily, the army continues to retreat, all the big monsters, follow me to kill this stinky bug. 6 big monsters soared into the sky and flew into the demon cloud. Suddenly, the demon cloud swelled violently, spinning, spreading, and pounced on Lu Changsheng. Lu Changsheng checked the system one last time before entering the demon cloud. Congratulations to the host. Apprentice number 002 Guanshan, the equipment's Wrath of Vengeance has broken through to LV4. The strength of Wrath of Vengeance LV4 is, ignore the damage of 10 times the upper limit, and gain 10 times the combat power, which lasts for 5 minutes. After each use, you will fall into a near-death state for 15 minutes. Apprentice number 002 Guanshan, the equipment's 10,000 God Sword has broken through to LV3. The strength of 10,000 God Sword LV3 is, active release, attack increase 100%. Host automatically shares progress. Wrath of Vengeance has been upgraded to LV5. The strength of Wrath of Vengeance LV5 is, ignore the damage of 20 times the upper limit, and gain 20 times the combat power, which lasts for 5 minutes. After each use, you will fall into a near-death state for 15 minutes. The host automatically shares the progress. The 10,000 God sword has been upgraded to LV4. The strength of the 10,000 God sword LV4 is, active release, attack increase 200%. Such a big power bank. What level can it reach? I don't know if I can experience the feeling of being a demigod. The last whisper was blown away by the wind, and Lu Changsheng plunged into the monster cloud without looking back, fighting alone against a group of monsters. Chapter 100. One man holds a sword, standing before dawn. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom. In the huge demon cloud, there were constant horrible energy fluctuations. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. Electric arcs, flames, frost, poison, all kinds of energy entangled and fought. All the human races in Dawn City rushed out of the city and looked straight at the demon cloud in the sky. Everyone knew in their hearts that Lu Changsheng was doomed. But everyone was eager for the birth of a hero. Lu Changsheng in the demon cloud was not. As embarrassed as he looked from the outside, the battlefield was the best place for him to perform. God's spirit blocked almost all the attacks, and constantly turned into his strength. Under the 20-fold increase of the wrath of revenge, Lu Changsheng's strength has far exceeded that of the 8th level demon. Even if he fights 7 alone, he can still handle it with ease. Lu Changsheng held the 10,000 God sword and slashed wildly in the demon group. Those violent energies that could easily kill a 6th level walker were like special effects in a movie in his eyes. Very cool. But that was all. Puff. A giant ape couldn't dodge in time, and Lu Changsheng cut off his right hand with a sword, but he didn't chase, but dodged sideways and avoided a huge golden rock's attack. This birdman is a bit troublesome. Lu Changsheng muttered dissatisfiedly. Other big monsters are charging me, but you insist on fighting melee, right? Then I'll kill you first. Lu Changsheng gathered all the demon power that he had accumulated for a long time in his left hand, and made a claw with his fingers, and pulled it back fiercely. The golden rock's forward movement suddenly stopped. It felt that its 2 wings seemed to be as heavy as 1,000 pounds, and it couldn't move at all. It could only watch itself fly backwards in despair. Bug! You dare! Yuyo opened his bloody mouth in anger, and the deadly poison mist spewed out again. The other 5 great monsters also mobilized all their demonic power, concentrated their firepower, and attacked Lu Changsheng. The demonic cloud was shaken by these huge energies and rolled up. Lu Changsheng, who was in the center, remained motionless. He stared at the flying golden rock, loosened his left hand, and stood sideways with both hands holding the sword, swung it violently. The 10,000 God sword cut into the beak of the golden rock, which was the most offensive part of the golden rock. Unfortunately, the sword with multiple blessings had already broken through the scope of the 8th level. A mere 7th level golden rock would definitely not be able to withstand it. The 10,000 God sword slashed heavily, and the black sword light passed through the body, cutting the golden rock into 2 pieces. A 7th level great monster, killed with one sword. The huge body of the golden rock staggered and fell from the air, fell from the thick demonic cloud, and slammed heavily on the ground. Boom. Stirred up a dust. Ah! Killed. Really killed. Oh my god. 1 against 7, actually killed a big demon. In front of Dawn City, the crowd was boiling. The expressions on people's faces slowly changed from sympathy, confusion, and regret to enthusiasm and expectation. In the hearts of all human beings, an idea surged, a crazy idea. That adult, maybe, I can really win. Bug, you. Next, kill you. Lu Changsheng had limited time and no time to chat. He ruthlessly interrupted Yuyo's words and waved his sword directly at the giant ape with a broken arm. All the big demons were stunned, and soon reacted. They were ferocious, roaring, and attacked Lu Changsheng. The big demons were not fools. After the first round of trials, they had discovered that this human seemed to be able to absorb their demon power, but the strength of his physical body was very average. They changed their fighting style and chose to strangle with their physical bodies, but soon, the big monsters will find out that they are wrong to a fault. Lu Changsheng has absorbed a huge amount of monster power. Even if he fights head-on, he is no longer inferior to these big monsters, but he has been avoiding hand-to-hand combat, in order to give these big monsters some illusions and trick them into close combat. After all, Lu Changsheng's long-range attack methods are still relatively scarce. now that the time has come, Lu Changsheng will no longer hide his shortcomings. God's spirit drains all energy within a 5-meter range around him. Even the weird monster cloud was swept away in an instant. The God spirit strengthening of the body has reached its limit. Lu Changsheng simply let these energies absorb around him and turned into a battle robe burning with black flames. Even the 10,000 God sword was emitting deadly black fire. The big monsters have already attacked Lu Changsheng, and this annoying bug has no way to escape. The ape could already imagine the sweet smell of warm blood spraying in the air when the bug was torn into pieces. Wait a minute, thought the ape was a little surprised. Isn't this the boss's voice? What did the boss want them to wait for? Wasn't he going to crush the bug to death soon? Speaking of this bug, why am I getting farther and farther away from him, and what's with that body? It looks so familiar. That seems my body. The ape's huge head fell from the demon cloud and hit the ground hard. Its eyes were still wide open, as if it had seen something extremely terrifying before it died. Kill another one. Wang Shilong's voice was trembling. Jun Ho, can you beat 7 in the demon cloud? Lin Yuan's expression was a little solemn. The venerable human race will be greatly restricted in the demon cloud. The ghost snake can kill 2 big demons in the demon cloud with 1 pair of 7. His strength has probably exceeded the 9th level. Lin Yuan did not continue speaking, but thought silently in his heart, 9th level, how did you do it? Can overcome the temptation of demigod. After 2 generals were killed in a row, Yulio became completely anxious. He ignored revenge and yelled, retreat all to Fendu City. Don't tangle with him anymore. As if they were amnesty, the big monsters all used their own abilities to get involved in the monster cloud and fled. One of the 7th level wolves even did not hesitate to burn his essence and blood just to get out of here faster. They were frightened to death. The mighty monster was actually killed by a small human race, killed to the point of death. Yulio jumped over the monsters and rushed towards Lu Changsheng. His huge fangs bit the 10,000 God sword hard and pushed it hundreds of meters away. The giant snake circled together fiercely, and the snake's tail whipped towards Lu Changsheng like a long whip. Feeling the huge power contained in it, Lu Changsheng didn't want to resist, so he accelerated upwards and avoided the sweeping sweep of the giant tail. Yuryu took advantage of the gap between this attack and suddenly curled up together, flying out like a spring and getting into the demonic cloud. His grandma has quite a few tricks to escape. Lu Changsheng gave up the idea of pursuit. The duration of the vengeful wrath is almost up, and if those big monsters are determined to run away, even if they fire again, it is impossible to kill them all in 5 minutes. You guys run fast, right? I want to see if these little miscellaneous fish down there can run so fast. Lu Changsheng stood proudly in the air, looking coldly at the demon army below him, and slowly raised the 10,000 God sword in his right hand. Since he came to Dawn City, all the energy absorbed by the gods and spirits, and then amplified by the wrath of revenge, were all concentrated on the sword. At this moment, Lu Changsheng was like a human nuclear bomb. Even he himself didn't know how powerful this blow would be if the amplification of the 10,000 God sword was used. The terrifying pressure spread to every corner along the land. Even the demon clan as far away as Fendu City felt a wave of heart palpitations. Fendu City, Dawn City, 2 main cities, 2 races, looking at the same person. Cut it down with 1 sword. The black sword light that covered the sky rushed into the millions of monsters and sank into the ground silently. After a few seconds, boom, 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 there were sounds of collisions and explosions coming from deep underground. A jet-black energy surged out from the ground, like a volcano erupting, and shot up into the sky. All the monsters who could not escape were instantly turned into powder and disappeared from this world silently. The aftermath of the energy sucked in all the nearby monsters and crushed them into pieces. Smoke and dust mixed with flesh and blood shot into the sky and slowly fell. The blood mist covered the sky and the sun, just like the Azura hell, shining into reality. When the energy dissipated and the violent wind subsided, a huge crater with a diameter of several hundred meters appeared in the center of the million-strong army. In the dense army of monsters, it was as if someone had taken away a large area, leaving a huge void. The demon army, which had been retreating in an orderly manner, suddenly exploded. The black demon swarm fled like locusts passing through the border, trampled to death, countless people were crushed, even the most bloodthirsty demon clan dare not look back, behind, it's the end. Hundreds of thousands of monsters were wiped out, and in the blood mist and smoke that filled the sky, a figure slowly fell from the sky. On this day, everyone saw, the king descended from heaven, like banishing an immortal. One person holds a sword, stand before dawn, millions of demon clans are exhausted, no one dares to respond.